Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Narcus David. Today I'm joined by these fine nerds for some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons with our awesome Dungeon Master Steven Partridge uh, playing Ashes of Ardor. I'm just going to throw it to you, illustrious GM.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So hi everybody. Welcome to Ashes of Ardor. We love Syrinscape. We use it for sound effects. So if you hear sound effects and music, that's what's going on. This is a dark fantasy game. It is noble dark, but it is still dark fantasy. So be aware that there are some horror elements involved and things of that nature. Just, I think it's good to disclaim that from the start. And with that out of the way, I'm going to roll this little D4 here and see who it lands on to give us their recap. Oh, that's Dave.
Nice! I remember nothing. No. We were in the Dwarven homeland, and which was being overrun. I thought I was going to fight my last stand, or Gortham Mage Killer's last stand, the Spell Eater Minotaur. But yeah, we were there in Senta's homeland, and what we discovered, it had been infiltrated already by the spawn of what do we call them again? The
Umber Horde.
Umber Horde. That's it.
Umber Horde.
Which were taking over and corrupting the dwarves down there. And really, like, most of the session was us just trying to stay ahead of this calamity and try and save the dwarves. So I don't want to get into a lot of the details because there's 3 other people to talk. So you know what? Let's go with Rob and Senta because it is your homeland.
Oh, okay. So we get there and the mother tree is screaming and in a terrible amount of pain, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And it turns out there's like sludge in the tree well, and like a ton, a ton of these corrupted things getting ready to like attack. And the mother tree was dying, and so we evacuated. And I should probably also leave some for the next person. Doug, do you feel like taking over from here?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. So we had descended deep into the earth to find the source of that, and we found where the roots were hanging down over, I believe, some sort of reservoir where the ichor was coming from. And the Umber Horde was on our tail, and we tried to combine all our green flame summoning to burn away the ichor, and I believe Gortham had his like fist stuck in it and like charged up his runes that way. But it did get rid of the ichor, but it also caused tremendous damage, which to the mother tree, and we had to do a lot to get around that. But the thing I remember most was sort of like holding the entryway for the Umber Horde while it was Gortham, and I was sort of assisting with some crowd control. But that was really exciting as we Senta tried to warn the city and evacuate them. And I'll pass it to Ted.
So we were kind of given a choice as we kind of kept, fleeing further up out of this, staircase and stairwell or whatever have you, that, we could, kind of just get away and allow the things to run rampant all over the city, or we could try to clamp them down here and get a message to the dwarves to try and allow them time to evacuate. So that allowed us to be like, all right, we're gonna buckle in. So we destroyed some staircases, to slow their advance. As everybody was saying, like, we kind of held our grounds and unleashed everything that we could, spell-wise, physical attacks and what have you, into them until it was finally like, all right, brought down a large rock and sealed them in enough for now, so that we might be able to make our own kind of escape. I believe we were fighting for quite a while as a kind of, touch and go type scenario. I know we didn't say anything about a rest, and I am severely depleted on my spell points. So I am hoping we get a chance to rest in the very near future.
So actually, you guys, because you leveled to 7, you do get the benefits of a rest. I like that homebrew rule of just when you level up, you get the effects of a rest. I like it in video games. I don't see why it's not a thing in D&D. So yeah, so everybody gets their long rest benefits, and you guys are now overlooking on this ledge. You see the mass of a caravan of the entire city of dwarves. Of note, you see that there are these colored groups that sort of start forming, where those that are wearing whites or multiple colors and lots of jewelry, very shiny gold, silver, they tend to gravitate toward the front of everything. And then you have the violet next, followed by blue, then green, then yellow, all the way through until you see red. And then lastly, you see those wearing blacks and grays. And you would notice that these colors correspond very directly to the gemstones that they have manifesting on their bodies and in their eyes. So you guys are currently standing on this ledge overlooking it all.
And speaking of gem colors, Cinta is still currently blue.
Oh, that's right.
Now we know enough about the dwarves and their stones, and while we as players know that Senta's gotten a no ability, there really hasn't been time to kind of sit back and observe and really understand what's happened with Senta, right?
Right.
Correct.
So Strahn's pretty perceptive, and we have a moment. Senta, what's going on with your gems?
It was a parting gift from the mother tree before she... We need to catch up with them. And I look at Strahn.
Okay.
And like as I'm turning my head, you see the blue, all of the color like leach out of the gemstones and my eyes, leaving them both sort of opal tone. Like there's still flecks of color, like there have always been flecks of color, even when they were all black. But like this was the color that they started as. And Dave, you've seen them like this before.
When did I see them like this before?
Because I knew you when you were like up in the mountains.
From before. Okay, gotcha.
Stream.
Yeah. Hey, you're back.
For the moment. This is the best way to get them to listen to me. And we know things that they don't. But right now, they're headed in exactly the wrong direction from where Jen went. Because we sent them through the portal back to the keep.
So, these are your people. Lead on.
Where do you intend to plant that seed?
Well, that's up to them. And Jen.
Perhaps they're only going to the nearest safe place for the time being. It may not be as
Possible they
immediate.
didn't really have a lot of time to plan for this.
So, just as a player, Senta isn't a white gem dwarf. It's like a unique thing that, like, is there like the opal sort of color?
Opal.
Like, there's no case of opal dwarves as far as we know. Like,
I mean, opal is one of the normal white gem colors. It's just that when they drained the white out of her gem, when she got kicked out, they didn't finish the process, and that's why she had like all the colors still flecked in there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah, the chromatic cast are the nobles.
Okay.
So, can you
Thanks.
change that at will now?
It appears so.
No.
Well, I sort of like look down at the dwarves below and then look to you and say, well, it seems like if anybody should be leading the way right now, it's you. What do you think we should do? Your people and your tree.
We need to catch up with the front of the column and let them know what's going on first. And at that point, and I'm going to gesture to the back where all the gray dwarves are in their like black clothing. I'm going to invite them to join us on our way back, if that's all right with all of you.
I have no problem with it. Back to the Jade Keep.
Yes. The life that they have with our people is not a particularly glamorous one. Many of us choose to leave in a case like that, and we can offer them better.
We can certainly use all the help we can get.
And I'll nod and at that point start heading down. There are not as many of us as there are the column of dwarves, so it shouldn't be too long before we catch up with the front, I imagine. Steven.
There's only the 4.
I'm sorry?
We want.
Yeah, there's only the 4 of us right now, so it shouldn't
want
take us too
mounts?
long to catch up with the front of the column.
Do we
Yeah,
want mounts?
it would take you probably like the better part of a half hour to catch up with them, just because you are on this like ledge overlooking, and you got to climb down and then climb up again because they're traveling on a different ledge. Unless one of you has a way to fly or float or something like that,
What if I conjured horses?
that could make it faster.
That's really cool.
What if he conjured giant mountain goats?
Actually, I don't know how the CRs work with that spell, but you are also allowed to conjure any of the fantastical mounts that are beasts, the Nerdarchy supplement,
Get a
because those
Gantuan
are a
up in
thing in
here.
this world.
Goats are like the horses in Skyrim. You can just jump up the side of the mountain.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have a Dranther Puka. Is at the keep, right?
At the keep.
Yeah, that's not close enough to be helpful here at the moment.
Yeah, like kangaroos are native to this area.
Hmm.
But then I don't know how kangaroos do well on mountains.
Well, if they're native to this area, probably pretty good.
Yeah, they come from a variety of areas, and it's just different breeds.
These are the shaggy kangaroo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
I can conjure, 4 things up to a CR half. So
Okay.
So that's why I was thinking just, I'm pretty sure, horses in that
Mhm.
range.
Yeah.
But I don't know what kind of mountain goat we might have access to.
You could substitute a mountain goat for it, like a rideable one.
A giant goat is a half, so that would qualify.
Okay.
They're sure-footed. They have advantage on strength and dex checks made against effects that would knock it prone. And they got a speed of 40 feet. So, boom, we got 4 goats.
All right. So how does this look when you do this?
So, I mean, normally, it's been wolves and other things, but he's kind of having to step outside his comfort zone. So he kind of issues this, call that starts off as like, nonsensical sounds that moves into a bleeding, and from around a building, around a tree, from the shadows behind us, and from, almost materializing out of nowhere, 4 goats just kind of come towards us.
All right. And these goats clop up to you, and they seem pretty tame.
I picked one.
Your ride awaits. And I'll gesture towards everyone.
So I will walk up to one and grab it behind the kind of like the jowls,
Mm-hmm.
and look him in the eye, and then greetings, little one, and I slam my head into his.
Oh dear. Okay, make an attack roll.
So, well, not in like a combative way, more of in a like showy kind of
Assertive way.
Okay,
the way Rams do.
Make an animal handling check then.
All right. I'm not actually trying to do damage to it,
Yeah.
although
Okay.
with my animal handling check, I might.
Goat, hello.
Don't roll a 1.
It's Dave we're talking about, so you never
Yeah,
know.
that is a dirty 9.
Dirty 9. So you do that, and the goat its pupils dilate just a little bit, and it goes, "Arr!" And you see it start kind of like hoofing the snow, and it looks like it wants to challenge you, and it tries to buck back at you. So it is still tame. It will still listen to you, but it like sees you almost like a challenger or someone that it wants to spar with now.
That's fine.
I like Parks' comment. It's basically a goat fist bump.
Yeah.
Gartham could probably pick up the goat and carry it. You could probably move that same speed.
Oh yeah, I do have the same movements.
Yeah.
As the goat.
Well, I do not.
I guess the question is then, do you want to make those checks to get down the mountainside and back up?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's me or one of us is gonna have to make it, right? The goat or us.
Yeah, the goat has advantage though.
Yeah, that is true.
I was just busting your chaps.
I cannot believe I'm saying this. I mount the goat.
Desatricos pulls his mane up, and just gestures and twists it quickly into a big fluffy tap knot to give himself advantage on athletics check by enhancing his style with beardomancy. And okay. He'll sort of gently put his head in close to the goat he's gonna get on and like just stroke its mane and then climb up on it.
All
Pretty
right.
nimbly. Actually, not very nimbly. He's very not dexterous. He strongly gets up on it.
Okay, so everyone can give me an athletics check with a +3 for the goat if they're doing it, and they have advantage if it's a goat.
All right.
16.
16.
Oh, thank goodness for enhancing my style. I rolled real dice. It's 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay.
That's gonna be a straight up 10.
27.
10. 27?
27? Wow.
+3 for the goat, right?
No, it's the goat. It gets a +3 for its athletics.
I'm sorry.
The roll +3.
Then it's only a 21.
That's still impressive and doable. So you guys have these goats sort of like leap, and it's almost like when you crest a roller coaster and you have to hold on real well because you feel your body naturally rising up as they fall and slam into the first one and then slam into the next ledge. And they keep going along these ledges and hopping until they find a small set of pillars that they start hopping across to get over to the trail that the dwarves are currently on. And you can get there in only a couple minutes. So you guys easily make your way to the front where the chromatic dwarves are leading the march. And yeah, you're at the front.
All right.
How are you approaching?
I'm gonna, and I don't believe I actually, before we left, had time to buy different clothes. So I'm still in my black leathers, if I recall right. Like, just gonna ride up to the front of the column and call down, can we halt a minute? I need a word.
Okay, give me a persuasion roll. And you have disadvantage on this. Because you are wearing black, your eyes are not chromatic. They see you as lesser.
Uh, 12.
12.
Considering disadvantage and the fact that I only have +2 to this roll, that's not bad.
Okay, so you say that and they sort of pause for a moment and you see who you would recognize as the current king looks at you and narrows his eyes, spits at the hooves of your goats, and then keeps going. And everyone follows.
Oh, you don't.
Did my eyes not
disrespect
change when I
Rammy
turned
like
blue
that.
last time?
Rammy.
What'd you say, Robin? I'm sorry.
Did my eyes not change with my gem when I turned blue last time?
Your eyes did change with your gem.
Okay, but they didn't this time.
Oh, did you change it blue?
No, I went opal colored.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So then you just would not have had disadvantage.
Oh, okay.
Although,
Well,
so yeah, whatever your first roll was. Sorry about that.
all right. That would have had me at 16.
16. Okay. So they stop. And the king looks at you. What? Who are you?
And I'm going to swing down and walk over to him. My name is Senta. I was there when this whole thing started.
Who are you though? You're one of us, but why are you wearing black? You're clearly above that.
So I'm going to like flash through the spectrum, like purple, blue, green, like just all of them, and then circle back around. And I'm going to be like, I just need a minute to explain what happened.
Make an intimidation roll with advantage.
6.
6 with advantage.
I don't have any points in
Okay.
intimidation.
That's fair. So he just kind of stares. How?
It was a parting gift from the mother before. I'm afraid she didn't make it.
We all felt that. That was the scream, wasn't it?
It was. There was a seed. I know where it is. We need to discuss what the next step is after that.
A seed. How do you know about that?
She told me.
She told you. What do we do with it? We thought it was lost. I was just thinking about that.
It can be planted, she can be reborn, but it's going to take great sacrifice to do so. One of us will have to become the next one, and we have a volunteer, the seed. We sent it with Jin, and they're somewhere safe now.
Jen. And he searches his memories. And he just, I don't know this Jen. But
Can I have the message cantrip. Can I send an image that way, or does it have to be like in words specifically?
I don't see why it couldn't be an image.
I'm just gonna like send a picture of Jen like through our minds.
Okay.
And I'm laughing because in my head I'm picturing like a 6th grade yearbook photo, but that's definitely not what it is.
Mhm.
That just made me laugh. It's
Yeah.
funny to me.
They're green. You're saying a green is going to save all of us?
Yes.
But they're green.
And they were there at the time and the mother approved.
So what do we do now then?
Find the next place for the city to be. Find somewhere safe to put down roots.
Well, right now, I have everyone marching towards Fulsit's Vigil because while it's not big, it's at least safe. There are walls and we can get our people situated, organized, reconfigured, all of it. But no ruler in Dwarven history has ever had to deal with this. How? What happened?
And you know what? I will tell you. I will give you the entire story, but we should probably get somewhere safe first.
Right. And I imagine you guys are kind of like walking slowly during this just because
Yeah.
to stop all those people would be really hard.
Yeah, I've got the
Um,
goat walking next to me because I swung down to have this conversation. You don't have a conversation with the king positioned above him. It's just not how it works.
And you see he just sort of like keeps rubbing his face where you see these shards of diamond jutting out, sort of like mingling in with his beard. And he looks at you and he looks at the people. I don't know who you are, but clearly you've been sent. So,
It's close. It's Senta with an A on the end.
oh, that's a name. You weren't born chromatic, were you?
Oh no,
Or
I
were
was.
you? You look so strange. Familiar, maybe.
I'm surprised you don't remember me.
I mean, I see a lot of people.
Well, maybe it'll come back to you eventually.
All right. Um, he sort of looks like he's trying to remember something. And give me an insight roll.
I already suspect he's been tampered with. Is that what this is about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my insight roll wasn't very good, but like I already suspect somebody's been in his head messing with his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So like, does an 11 get me to the point to justify that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not incredibly hard, especially if you're already suspecting it to go that way. Um, Also, anyone who wants to can make a perception roll.
Yeah, I figure I'm just sort of cantering along,
Mhm.
not right up with them because that seems like a private canter. Ooh, not good. 13.
I've been trying to, pay attention and look to see, not only the conversation, but what's going on. Almost trying to kind of act like we're Senta's honor guard.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
I happen to roll that, nice, beautiful Nerdarchy N symbol. So I have a 24.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So, as you're looking throughout the crowd, you see people confused. There's a lot of murmurs about the scream that was heard. Um, while none of them seem to have been debilitated from it based on what you've gathered from their conversations, like Senta was being so close, um, they definitely still heard it. And that, coupled with the sudden evacuation and subsequent attacks on the people that were making it out last, it's all very scary and new. You see that especially the Greys have wounded among them, and they're still bleeding. And you see that the Reds have some wounded as well. It seems that these were the last of those that escaped. And you see not children, but like ones that are clearly younger than the older ones, who are sort of looking like especially fearful. Some of them talk about having had nightmares previous to awakening in the Amber Chamber. Um, and because you got a natural 20, you notice several figures wearing hooded white cloaks with masks over their faces, just sort of looming among the white crowd. And you see them sort of all converging toward Senta, not in a beeline way, but in a like trying to not be noticed while drifting that direction way.
So like individually, but are they all kind of the same?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I will kind of nudge Dasatrikos in the direction of the white masks, and I will kind of look down to Senta and say, we need to get these people to a place that they can rest. They are wounded and they are certainly concerned.
Then it shall be
Certainly.
done.
Oh, sorry.
There seems to be plenty enough guard in the front. Perhaps we should join those in the back and keep an eye on the rear.
How many wounded would you say that there were? And does anyone look like they're in dire straits?
Some, yes. There were several, like probably the upper end of 50.
I was just gonna say, like, we'll give a ballpark. Like, we're talking like thousands of dwarves here in this big caravan.
Yeah,
Hundreds.
there are thousands.
Thousands. Okay, so it's very
Quick
So it's a
question.
relatively small percentage, but yes.
Of the Umbra Horde, which ones come from dwarves?
The
Boggles.
boggarts.
Boggarts. Yeah.
Boggarts. Do any of them
Yeah.
look like they're on the verge of becoming boggarts?
Make a perception check or investigation. I would
Uh,
also
That
let
was
you
a
do medicine
Very
if
good
that's better.
question.
that's a litany. How about intimidation?
You're gonna intimidate them. Are you about to turn?
Were
That is
you
a-
bitten?
Yeah, that's a 16.
16. So you do actually notice that you do see some whose stones seem to be of the reds, but they're starting to murk and turn into this gray color. Some of the black ones seem to be lightening into the gray. You see that there are a couple in the back whose hair is starting to mat and come together almost like those tendril vines. So yeah.
I will kind of like sweep my axe through the air and from the first ones I see to the other ones. Senta, some of your people do not have much time left.
Then let's see what we can do for that in the time being. And I'll swing back up onto the goat, not wait to be dismissed, just start riding back because this is more important.
Okay. So yeah, you go to the back, and it's now that you can really see there are many of the wounded are being dragged on like these carts. They're almost like wheelbarrows with blankets in them, and they seem to be designed to go over uneven stone. So they have like these multiple wheels to them on at angles so that they will not necessarily tip as easily. But you notice that especially the ones in the carts that are really injured start looking the worst for their wear.
Is there anything to like reverse the process? Like, is there anything we can do to help them?
So as you approach, you see that many of them, their eye gemstones are also murking quite a bit. And some of them are even foaming at the mouth. Make a medicine roll if you want to see if they can be saved.
That is no lie. That is another natural 20 for a 20.
Wow. Okay. So you are pretty confident that if you don't like lop off the limb that is infected pretty quickly, like within seconds, they're already gone. And it's just a matter of time.
I will blatantly I will draw forth my silvered scimitar and say we need to remove, whether it be arm, leg, or they're going to turn into a boggart right now.
All right, do what you need to do.
And you see that some of the dwarves see that you're trying to do this, and they start grabbing you. A couple of them pull their weapons. What are you doing?
I said it loud enough that like everyone in the surrounding area would have heard me.
Okay. Make a persuasion check to see how well they believe this.
Oh, yay. This is something that I am so...
Maybe get another-
You're talking about immediate amputation when they don't even know who you are, and you're a human.
All right, well, that's going to be a 12.
A 12. So you see that several of them are still responding in that way. The ones immediately around you are not, but there are others that are quickly approaching that if you do something, they will probably try to attack you.
stand down. If we don't do something, there are going to be boggarts among us immediately.
Who are you?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
She still has the chromatic eyes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, someone who is trying to save lives. Uh, what is our order called again? I'm sorry, Steven.
Order of the Jade
The Jade
Phoenix.
Lotus, right?
Uh-huh.
Jade Lotus.
We're with the Jade Lotus. This is what we do. Deal with the Umber Horde and help the people that we can. Now, do you want them to live or not?
Your people have just suffered a tremendous loss, and we only seek to spare you further harm. I know it's hard, but it could be much worse if we don't do something right now.
We could just let them turn in the boggles and they'll figure it out eventually.
We could. That will happen. And then we'll be faced with another equally tough decision.
No,
Senta?
not that tough. See boggles, kill them. It's easy.
Yes.
Make an intimidation or persuasion roll, your choice, and you have advantage because they assisted you.
I can do persuasion. Sort of. Oh, dirty 21.
Dirty
Nice.
21. Okay, so you say this, they say this, and they sheath their weapons, though hesitantly.
All right, I'm gonna help with this process by holding people down so that it goes faster and more smoothly.
Okay.
I will help by getting as many people as we can in a Theus and upcasting catnap so that they just have a calm sleep. And I'll explain to them and I'll just as I'm casting that, it will explain to them that I understand you're in tremendous pain, and I want you to just rest now, and we'll ease that pain.
So if we can get everybody on board, I would have Gortham be the one to deliver the strike. Number one, he's got a great big axe, and he's the most proficient at chopping things apart. I can handle the medicine of cauterizing and whatever have you, and then I can also just cast a shit ton of good berries and be able to pass one out to everybody that needs it to speed up some healing factor.
Okay, so go ahead. Also, because you made your medicine roll so well, you already know that if the gem or the eyes has already begun turning, they're already gone.
Okay.
So once the corruption reaches that point, they're gone.
So it's the people whose eyes haven't turned yet that we're trying to save.
Right.
Prioritize ruthlessly the ones that we can save over the ones that we can't.
As you are doing this, you do the first one. Gortham, give me a medicine check.
Not very medicine-y. That is a dirty 15.
Dirty 15. All right, so you would know that you probably, for one, want to give them something to bite down on when this happens so they don't break all their teeth. And
yeah, I've seen that done plenty of times.
And you hack off the first limb, and as you do, it cuts cleanly. It is as minimal pain as possible, but they still let out this ungodly shriek.
Oh yeah.
And when they do, you hear this little bit of cracking and crumbling, and you feel some bits of snow and stone trickling down from above you on the wall against this ledge.
Look up.
Yeah. You see that basically for every one of these dwarves, you guys are going to have to make a medicine check unless you have a way to mitigate it to prevent the screams from potentially causing an avalanche.
Oh. This isn't good.
Can we, because like I said, I was aiding by holding people down, can part of that process be like holding something in their mouth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just muffle that. Like a
So-
strip of leather.
Yep.
Does
that's easy
the
to do.
did the catnap have any positive effect on that, or I mean, did it just wake up screaming in pain because from that would wake you up even if you're asleep?
It will still wake them up because
Right.
it's a normal sleep,
Right.
but it does help for beforehand, and it probably helps in the moment a little bit. And
Well-
not all of them scream; some of them gasp as a result.
Some are
So
just
it
tougher
does
than
help.
others.
Well,
So-
I can help with that as many as up to 9 people anymore as needed.
Okay. So
We're
we
probably
are
going to end
do-
up with attention
Oh,
attracted as well. So it's something to be aware of.
hey, wait, who's making the medicine checks? Ted?
I can make the medicine checks because I mean that's something I'm already good at.
Yeah, you can do the medicine checks, and then because you have Gortham, who's super strong, doing the amputations, that's considered an assist, so you'll have advantage.
I
Okay.
will. Oh, I was just. Oh, yeah, good. Never mind.
So you go ahead and
You don't deserve my beardomancy.
So you do this, and you notice that the red and gray lines that have sort of halted where you guys are at because they're watching this and making sure their loved ones are okay. The other ones are continuing on until they see that something is happening, and they sort of pause to look back and see what you're doing.
Hey, quick question. Like, how long would you say this whole scenario is taking place? Like 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer? than that?
Yeah, it's probably going to be about 20 minutes
So
just to get everything done.
So one other thing, if I could add to what's going on, for the people that Strand is able to successfully, save, and that are still, alive with us, and that don't have murky eyes, I want to weave a piece of my mane together with like a hair or something from those dwarves, and make friendship bracelets for whatever friends and family they have, and I'll explain to them that like they'll know where they are and how they're like if they're hurt badly or as long as they wear those things, just to help soothe their pain.
Okay, so the way this works is this is a complex skill test, and everyone is contributing. So as a result, Doug, make an Arcana roll or Persuasion, your choice.
I'm gonna go with Persuasion because I don't know that much about magic. It's all just comes from Shagos. 10.
10. Okay. So that is considered a failure. So Ted, medicine check.
This is at advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a dirty 20, 16 on the die.
Dirty 20. That's a success. All right. Senta. So for your part, you can choose persuasion or medicine.
All right, I'm going to choose persuasion because I also have no medical skills.
Okay.
I haven't used my inspiration this game, so I think it's probably a good idea to do that. That's gonna leave us at 17.
17 is a success.
It would have been
barely.
6 otherwise.
Oh yes, you wanted that. And so Gortham, athletics.
Alrighty.
You couldn't have picked something he's good at?
What's he do? Just putting his hand over their mouth and holding them down?
No, he's trying
Shut
to do it painlessly. Trying to do it quickly and painlessly.
All right.
You can do medicine instead if you want, but I figured you'd want athletics.
I mean, it doesn't really matter so much for this role because it's pretty good either way. But I'm technically you continuously like chopping limbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I rage? Is that enough to fuel my rage?
Sure. Definitely.
All right, so that's a dirty 20 instead of a 17.
Dirty 20. Okay. So you guys succeed at the first part of this challenge, which means you make it to the second part, which is where one person is going to roll their initiative against me. And if you succeed, you will have successfully gotten all of the dwarves before the boggarts start forming. However, if you fail, some of the boggarts are going to begin attacking while you're trying to save others, which
Okay.
may result in more boggarts.
So
Okay.
I have a +2 to initiative, but I do have advantage.
I'm gonna
I have 0 plus to my initiative.
What do you have, Robin?
For initiative,
Mm-hmm.
+8.
Oh, yep. I would say
Yeah.
let's go with the +8.
Yep, Robin.
Okay.
22.
They got a 21.
Oh.
I rolled to just see what I would have rolled, and it would have been a 4 and a 5. So
So you guys see that Senta is sort of orchestrating all of this happening. And as she's doing this, you're just getting them through very quickly. And
Can
Gortham
I-
is effortlessly chopping this with each round. And I'm sorry, Ted, what were you
Can I
going to say?
offer something?
Yes.
So since right now Senta has kind of taken on the guise of, the chromatic visage. I don't know how it all works here, but as she's giving orders, I would imagine other dwarves have kind of stepped into their usual role of you have to follow your superiors.
Mm-hmm.
And as we begin methodically going through this, like they're stepping in and we're getting through faster because more people are being involved in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. And as you're doing that, you are using your good berries and different elements to both mundanely and magically heal the wounds that are happening. And Desatrikos, you are using your profound charisma to help. You're struggling a little bit just because you're not used to this.
Yeah.
Dealing with people who are not used to just falling in line with what's best for everybody is weird and a little bit foreign. And while you've dealt with it among the Lotus, this is a grand scale and it just feels a little off. So as you guys are going through, though, you manage to make it. And just as you get the last of the patients that you can save done with, you see one of the dwarves starts to convulse and this foam starts pouring from their mouth. And you see that their bones start cracking and like their limbs are twisting in unnatural ways. And the muscle tissue breaks through the flesh as like loose, flailing, thrashing sinews, and they warp and they turn into these plant-like tendrils. And as all of this happens, you hear screams, and a couple of them throw their arms out, and these sinews grab onto dwarves and throw them over the edge.
Oh no.
And it is time for an initiative.
All right.
Yup. 24.
All right, 24.
I do very much love the alert feat.
Got a 5.
17.
22.
Nope. Okay,
My
so
Nerdarchy die is rolling nice to me tonight.
Yeah, I keep
All
forgetting
right.
I gotta roll that. Get these other dice out of here.
all right, so one more time. Senta, what'd you get?
24.
Yeah.
24. Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to do the math again because I'm bad at simple addition, apparently.
No, that's fair. I'm struggling right now with my little notes program here that's keeping initiative. Okay, so did anybody else get above a 20?
22.
Okay, so the boggarts are going next. You got 22, you said?
I did.
Gortham is going before the boggarts. So then between Doug and Ted, which character got higher? Was it Desatrikos or was
I got
Strawn?
5.
I had a 17.
Okay.
I had 5.
Strawn, followed by Desatrikos. All right. So, Senta, you are up first. And you are currently seeing that these changing dwarves, you see 3 of them, and they're all towards the back, and they have straggled as you guys kept kind of moving people just a little more, abandoning those that were further back that were already lost. So that way you could put a little distance between you, because this was close. And what are you doing? They're about 30 feet off. There are currently 3 that are transforming.
Okay. So I will use my action to telepathic bond and my bonus action to activate cruel intent, and I'm going to move in closer. And that's all I can do, but so we're all like in each other's heads now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've established that telepathic bond.
Yeah, I just like open myself up to my allies so that they can see what I can see,
Okay.
etc.
All right, so you now have a telepathic bond established with your allies. Gortham, what are you doing?
I'm going to hop on Rami and spur him forward.
Okay, so you are mounted right now, and are you trying to charge one of them?
We are certainly charging one of them.
Okay, so go ahead and give me that attack roll, and you have advantage
Okay.
because you're mounted.
All right. So that's the mount. The mount has a 24 to hit.
Okay,
And,
that will definitely hit.
Okay. So. So he actually does a decent amount of damage. 44 plus 3 on the charge.
Okay.
Ooh, not bad. 15 points of damage.
15
And that
points of damage.
Boggle can make a saving throw. A strength
Okay.
saving throw, I believe. Yeah,
That
DC
bugger is
13
making-
strength.
Strength saving throw. That is a 3 on the die, which puts it at a 7.
So it gets knocked prone.
Okay. And actually, because it is knocked prone on a ledge, it flies over the ledge.
Yeah, Rami! Alright, well now I'm gonna take my attacks. I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna reckless attack. I know I really don't
Okay.
need to, but I want to.
Okay, so go ahead and recklessly attack.
What barbarians do, man.
Alright, oof. So that's a 17 to hit.
All right, a 17 to hit. That will definitely hit.
Alright.
Roll that damage.
Alright, that is gonna be 11 plus. It's gonna be 15. 17 points of damage.
17 points of damage. Whoo-wee. All right, describe what happens to this one.
Just split it straight down the center. It just like stays there for a minute, and with the gap, and then it just like falls over.
All right, so as it falls apart, you see this syrupy black ichor that was inside it that had sort of replaced its blood, or perhaps its blood had transmuted into.
Oh yeah, you totally see
Now-
the strands as it splits apart and falls away, like the sticky
Mhm.
gooey, like
Mhm.
marshmallow.
Oh yeah. And it is sizzling on the ground now. And you're realizing with that hit, these things don't get their full Umber Horde strength when they first transform. So your best bet is to get them before they are
Transform.
fully formed.
Well,
yeah,
that's a
because right now
23
they're
to hit the
using
next
their
one.
dwarven commoner hit points. Okay. That will
Or-
hit.
For another 19 points of damage.
Describe that one too.
So I guess like I'd already come down with like the overhand chop down the center.
Uh-huh.
And with that, he kind of just like slides the axe in his hand, so he gets a wide gap grip, and just kind of like slams it into the one next to it. So the spikes, not the spikes, but the blades, he kind of like stabs with the axe instead of using it as a slashing weapon the way it's intended, and driving it through the chest. And then once he hits, it just twists, like kind of like twirling spaghetti,
Okay.
but Horde ooze instead.
Yeah.
Good gravy.
when you do that, you see that the vines had not yet formed those terrible thorns that do lots of damage. And it is now the Bockert's turn.
There's only
Or
the
do you-
3 of them, right? You said?
There were only the 3, but there are more turning. There's just only 3 that could act this time.
Well, are there any more near me?
Yes, there are.
I will use my
in
bonus
total-
action to use.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, you were already raging, weren't you?
I was already raging to use hammering horns. That's a strength saving, so saving throw DC 14.
Okay. They got a natural 1 on the die.
So it goes flying 10 feet.
Okay, so it goes flying over the ledge. So you just knock this dwarf that was in the middle of writhing. You hear this sickening crunch and splatter. And actually, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. You're already covered in regular dwarven blood, but now you're starting to be covered in this black Icarus blood.
That's a 23.
23. So you are having no problems with it. Also, you should have had advantage with that too because of your feet, if you remember.
Yeah, I think that was the better roll anyway.
All right.
So
Yeah, you are just ignoring a lot of this, but you see that this dwarf goes flying over the edge, and it is now dead. You see there are 10 more dwarves turning. So they aren't turned right now, so they are in the process of turning, and we'll get to act next round.
So Rami gets a 14 on his Constitution saving throw.
Rami gets a 14. Okay. So Rami starts kind of coughing and sputtering on this blood a little bit. And it has clearly gotten into its mouth. But these are these fae in nature?
Yeah, that's right.
Or are they actual natural animals?
They're spirits. They're
Okay. So you see that as Rami's coughing, there's like this vaporous mist that's sort of pouring off of it, almost like it's starting to vanish.
okay.
And it is Strawn's turn. Strawn, what are you doing as you see these 10 more dwarves convulsing and their limbs crashing and crunching as they're transforming?
So, stupid question.
Mhm.
We know that loud noise in this spot is not a good idea right now, right?
Right.
Okay. So what I want to do, I can't do. So I am just going to. What was that?
Thunderwave.
Yeah, that's.
Well, what if you thunderwave to cause an avalanche on them?
I don't think I can be selective as much as I like Stone. I don't think Stone's going to be like, hey, you know what? We like this guy. Let's do exactly what he wants.
Yeah, it's going to stop him. Whoa, that's strong.
So I'd love to do more, but I'm just going to straight up. I'm gonna thorn whip one of them. And I'm gonna send the goat in to do a ram on him.
Okay.
So thorn whip. That's going to be a 13.
13 does not hit.
And then the goat attack.
Just of all time.
Going to be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. That hits. And it has to make a strength save, right?
This just says like 2d4 plus 3. Oh yeah, because it can charge. Yeah, it'll do extra damage in this one. So let's see, it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage and a strength save DC 13.
All right, they got an 11 for the strength save.
That's DC is 13. So that's going to be a no-do.
All right, so does that mean they are pushed back, or what happens?
So according to this, it says like they're knocked prone, but the creature's already prone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that means it could be pushed back instead. But that's
yes, that is what that means.
but 12
and
damage
And just because the chat asked for it, there.
Nice.
Chat asked for it.
Well, I mean, sometimes you got to give in.
Yeah. It's classic.
So, you watch as this dwarf just flies over the edge and down below. And it is now going to be Desatricos' turn.
I am going to use all 35 feet of my movement if I need to get as close as I can to the largest mass of these boggarts that are also near regular, like unturned people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to crouch over and sort of protectively towards those people and use my Whirl Whip, which is I can spend 2 sorcery points and all his fur just becomes like super long. And I say, get away from these people. And it flies out and all enemies within 10 feet of me have to make a DC 14 strength saving throw. On a failed save, they're knocked prone. On a successful one, they're knocked back 5 feet. So either way, they're going to be.
Okay. So either way, they're going to be pushed back.
Yeah.
So describe how most of these fly over the edge.
Oh, so yeah, his mane just gets like super long, 15, 20 feet long things, and they just all whip out and wrap around their arms and legs and torsos or whatever, and just flings them off of, I'm moving my arms, but my hair is enacting that will.
Mm-hmm.
And then they
It's
just
like,
fly out.
how Todd McFarlane used to draw Spider-Man's webbing?
Yeah. And is there any left near me or near threatening people?
There are 3 left.
Mm.
So you still have 3 to deal with.
Okay.
And
That's
at
it.
this time, now that the round is complete, you see that many of the dwarves start shoving one another and screaming, and there's a panic ensuing.
Mm.
And so you see that the masses start moving, but some people are actually flying over the ledge just by virtue of being shoved out of the way.
Oh, no.
And people are there are people hanging from the ledges, screaming for someone to help them up. Others are trampling them or their hands. There are people that are being trampled. There's people that are being thrown over the edge. It is a massive panic at this point. And Senta, we come to your turn.
Okay. Well, as much as I feel like I should be joining this fight because I was waiting for somebody to be in range so that I could get my sneak attack off, this panic needs to be dealt with. So I'm gonna get up on a rock and oh no, loud noises are not a good idea right now. Oh, but they're making loud noises. That's
right,
also
they're
not a
making
good
loud
idea
noises.
right now. Okay. All right. Let me check the range on the message cantrip. I would have looked this up in advance, but I just found out this was
150 feet, I think.
Oh, that is quite some distance. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna target somebody that looks like they can start getting things to calm down in the rear, and
a blue person.
If there's anybody blue back here, if we're going in color order, probably the closest people are going to be orange, but just whoever looks like they're keeping their calm, I'm going to spread to them to start trying to calm people down, and I'm going to drop back to sort of start helping calm this mess.
Okay.
And reach down and help people up if that's possible.
Okay. So there are surprisingly few orange specifically in the ranks because the orange are the hunters and the gatherers, and they tend to spend a lot of their time outside of the society. However, go ahead and give me You can choose either an athletics check or a straight constitution roll to try and see how many people you can save as you're just running over to the ledge trying to pull people up.
Okay.
Hmm.
17 total on a straight con roll because my strength is actually really not that good.
Okay. So you managed to get, let me roll this. You can only reach 6 people before, I didn't roll great. But you do also get the orange ones that are there working through the ranks to try to calm people as they begin offering to guide groups along the mountain path safely or down the side of the mountain safer without taking the direct path. And you see some start actually setting up climbing equipment to get people down that way as well. So like the orange ones are currently all mobilized thanks to your efforts. And you are also getting a few that have been slung over the edge and are clinging to dear life.
All right, and like you guys know what I'm doing because we've got like the telepathic switchboard going on.
Right.
So, you know, like apologetically, this needed handling.
Of course.
I say it looks like Gortham's taking care of the danger.
Okay, and it is now Gortham's turn, actually.
See?
So there's like, how many are left? Like,
3.
There are 3 of the turning dwarves left.
all right, well, I'm going to go lay into them. You better stay here, Rami. You're not looking so good.
Rammy. What do rams turn into?
We're about to find
I
out.
shouldn't think of that. Finger.
That's not great. Does a 13 hit?
A 13 does not hit.
Yeah.
Is it still lying on the ground? Would he have an advantage?
I already have advantage.
It is lying on the ground.
I already
Oh.
have advantage, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Do you got super advantage?
Super advantage. Well, that's going to be much better. That's going to be like a 29.
Oh yeah, that hits for sure.
All right, so it's somewhere between 13 and 29. We're narrowing in.
Yeah.
Their AC? I knew.
Yeah, and so
I'm a
that's not
DC
great
caster,
damage.
man.
It's only 11 points of damage.
11 points of damage. Okay, that is not quite enough to off them.
All right,
But you
well,
are very
then-
close.
Then I'm going to headbutt one of the other ones and try and push it off.
Okay.
DC 14.
DC 14. That is a 13.
All right, so I get my horns up under one and just like fling it.
Okay, and you fling it, and this dwarf fly are turning as they're flying over the edge, but that's gonna take care of them for sure. And do you have anything else you can do?
I moved, used my action, used my bonus action.
So you're good?
I'm good.
All right. It is now their turn, but before that happens, we need to roll and see if the avalanche happens.
Oh no.
Okay.
Even you just gleefully want there to be snow.
I do.
I'll admit I kind of want to see what happens if it is. Bring it on,
So
buddy.
a few more rocks and some powdery rain falls, but no avalanche transpires. I was one off from what I needed for an avalanche.
So close.
You get us
So-
next time.
Now there is one boggart remaining that is very injured.
You took 2 of them out just now,
Huh?
Dave?
No,
He threw-
I
he-
only took one out this time.
Oh.
Yeah. The one that is currently injured is the one that's attacking right now.
Oh, okay.
And it got a 15 versus Gortham's armor class.
15, no.
Okay.
It does have
so-
advantage, though. Don't forget.
Oh, it does. You're right.
Unless
That
it's
was
still
its
prone.
advantage.
Um,
So as this dwarf just its arms fly back and you hear this sickening crunch and creaking, and it almost sounds like wood squealing as its chest opens up to reveal that its gemstone sucks from its shoulder into the chest area, and it's now completely murky. and the sinewy muscle just sort of overtakes it in a shower as they turn to vines, and it lashes out at you and misses. And that is its turn. And the one that is uninjured is also going to be going for you. And that is a 13. That's not going to hit.
Yeah.
So same thing happens though. You see that the gem that was manifesting up here in the upper temple sucks down into where the chest area is, and it becomes this milky gray, and the sinewy muscle just explodes as it transmutes into plant matter. And that is the boggart's turn. Strawn, you're up.
So I've still, got my thorn whip. Could I use that to pull people, like as opposed to like attack people with it, just like to like lead it down and pull?
Absolutely.
So what am I rolling for that?
You can choose Arcana or Athletics because it is a physical thing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna absolutely have that be Arcana and not physical.
Okay.
So that's gonna be a 16.
16. So you managed to get 15 more dwarves up from the ledge.
Oh, wow.
As you're just like throwing them back onto the ledge, pulling them from where you can get them. And you're actually getting a lot of them that Senta couldn't quite reach because they had fallen further down and they were holding on further down.
And I'll direct the goat to go see, who that might be able to help as well.
Okay. And you see that the goat that was Gortham's smokes away.
Okay.
Because spirits and things that are native to the wild can't be corrupted by the Umber Horde. They just disappear. So, Desatrikos, or I'm sorry, Strawn, did you have anything else, bonus action or anything?
So I was just seeing what the goat would be able to do. My goat.
What are you trying to have it do?
Go help whoever it can.
So maybe attacking the remaining boggart that's transforming?
Sure, I can. I was going to have it, help the dwarves, but.
How would it help the dwarves?
I mean, it can go where people.
Any tin cans that need eaten?
If anybody survived the fall, sort of thing.
They've got the ability to walk on ledges that people don't normally.
Okay. So you want to like have it let people ride it down,
or back up, but yeah.
Okay. I see. I gotcha. All right. So sure, make an athletics check for the goat. Then that's a +3 for it.
I'm going to use my inspiration because I don't like this.
Okay.
That's much better. Another 16.
Okay. So that goat manages to reach another 11 total, as it basically just has them grab on, and it takes a couple at a time because these dwarves are smaller in general, and they grab on and it jumps down or jumps back up to the ledge, whichever's quicker, and it gets people to safe places very efficiently.
Hey, I'm happy with 16 people for my turn, or 26 people for my turn.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah, it is. You are really moving. That's crazy. And Desatrikos.
I used the telepathic link to contact Gortham and say, are you okay with those last two there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna help these orange dwarves, and I'll undo my top knot, and his mane falls. When it falls down, it's now dreadlocks, which sharpens my survival skills. And I want to just go and avail myself of those orange dwarves, because so they were like getting equipment and stuff.
Okay.
Like climbing equipment, and just try to like aid them, and in rescuing people as well.
Okay.
And
All right,
preparing for that.
absolutely. Make either athletics or persuasion.
Could I make a survival check?
Sure. You can do that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah.
It
No,
didn't
that's okay.
quite
No, I mean,
register at
but
first.
Well, let's see. I got a 23, but I haven't. 23.
23. Okay, yes. So you can save. I got a natural 20 on the die. So you managed to rescue all of the remaining dwarves that had been thrown off that were not already dead.
Praise
So those
Shagos.
who were still holding on in various places, which there were, let me check. Oh, there were 6 of them left.
Oh,
So
wow.
you rescue the remaining 6. So now they are all taken care of. There are no more dwarves that have been flung over the ledge that were still surviving. So you have managed to save them.
Praise Shagos, I say.
And Senta.
Praise Drassatricos.
I get my power from Shagos.
Senta, what are you
one.
doing?
Well, if anybody's still screaming, I am grabbing them by the face and telling them to calm down.
Okay, so you're just going to make your rounds doing that. Would you like to
Yes.
make an intimidation or persuasion check for that?
I would like to make a persuasion check because I'm not proficient in intimidation, which seems like a huge
Okay.
oversight in retrospect. 18.
18.
I'll give you a mohawk. It'll be fine.
So you managed to reach 18, ironically enough. 18 different people are around you and hear what you're saying, see that you point out the foreboding avalanche, and they begin spreading the word as well to try to get everyone to calm the F down. And is that all you are doing this round?
I'm not sure what else I could do. Like, it seems like grabbing people by the face and making them chill out is quite a bit of stuff. You know, like, my hands are probably pretty full with that. I don't think there's a whole lot else I can pile on there.
Okay. All right. So that means we're back up to Gortham. You've got one very injured and one less injured.
All right. Well, I guess we'll take a swipe at that injured one
Okay.
and see if we can't finish this guy off. Well, that's a 29 again.
Ever. Yes, that hits.
Yeah, and it's going to be only 11 points, but I think it was already down 11, so to 22.
11. Okay. So just describe how you deal with this thing.
Yeah, so it basically already had a gash across his chest in
Mhm.
the first swing, so he just kind of comes in and figure eights and makes it an X. And you know, and that final cut was like cuts everything that was holding everything together, and just like their organs just erupt out from inside their chest because of all the compression with the changes going on. It all has
Okay.
to go somewhere, so it's like if you squeeze a tube of toothpaste, but with its like organs, and it might have covered me
Okay.
in the process.
All right. And you just like squeeze it all out and it is done. Do you want to attack the other one?
Of course, 23.
All right. 23. Okay. That hits.
Alright, let me get better. Alright, so that is going to be 16 points of damage.
16. Describe its gruesome demise.
I just lopped the head off of this one.
All right. You lopped the head off this one just in time, actually, because it came to their turn and they were going to get their boggart hit points this turn, but you stopped it. So now we just have to see if there's an avalanche that's happening. Oh, and I have disadvantage because Senta was getting people to be quiet.
I'd like to headbutt the avalanche.
About the avalanche.
It's all Gordon's
So-
got.
I'm not even kidding. I rolled one less than I need again with my disadvantage. So some rocks
Steven?
tumble. Yes.
There is a saying, the dice know.
Oh yes, the dice know. The dice know I'm in it for an avalanche tonight.
Rocks fall, you all die. Thanks for playing in my game.
So the rocks pour, more snow falls, and there is no avalanche. And as the ranks sort of start calming a bit, and everyone starts regaining their composure, you feel this this brisk, very icy mountain wind blowing into you through your clothes, and your breath sort of vapors as you exhale, and you've survived. It doesn't seem there are any more that have been corrupted from the Umber Horde back in Dwerenheim. Or Dwagomir, excuse me. So you
Well, first things first, and produce flame on the corpses that are here.
okay.
You're gonna say long rest.
Nah, I'm actually pretty good. I didn't use
I know,
any
I
spell
was just-
slots
yeah.
during that battle.
So Gortham kind of like comes out of his rage and the after euphoria of battle, and he's his pupils are dilated, his nostrils are flared, his chest heaving, and he's just like excited and hungry for more. And then he kind of just looks around and then realizes that they were the dwarves that they were saving, and he feels a little crestfallen. His shoulders slump a little bit, his head sags. He flicks his axe clean and walks back to the group. Sorry, Santa.
No, this was not your fault.
We saved all that we actually could.
Like, I'm actually going to go as far as to step up, go on tiptoe, and hug him.
Oh, it's so gross right now. So
Yeah,
gross.
you guys
All
you
that
guys are
hair and
covered.
gore.
You guys are
Does
covered
Cinta
in
look like she cares
blood
about getting a little viscera on her?
and
not
sinew
just
and
viscera.
black blood. Like specifically Gortham has that.
Yeah.
He's
Okay,
got
it's
the
not like
ichor.
I'm gonna lick him.
Yeah.
That would be completely different. Never mind. Gortham will pat Santa across the shoulders. Thank you. I wish we could have saved them all.
Thank you. We did the best we could have.
And you see that everyone sort of begins parting as best as they can on the ledge. And you see the king approaches you, Senta. I can't believe my own eyes. What just happened?
Well, what happened is when the Umbral Horde starts doing its business, occasionally it spreads.
That's
see.
what they were doing to your mother tree.
I can't believe this. Those were our people.
That's what the Umber Horde does.
We
That's
saved
why
what we
we're
could.
doing what we're doing.
We saved who we could.
And you see this big stream of vapor just as he exhales. We have no way to reproduce.
We
And
will.
we just lost more of us.
We did. Not as many as we could have. We need to get somewhere safe, and then we need to find somewhere to put roots down so that we can start the process over.
If you're
We
not
can heal
careful,
from this.
I had a thought about that. Has anyone ever tried to purify the stones of those who have been corrupted?
The king just sort of like pauses and eventually says, we've never even seen this. We didn't know if we could be infected. And now our numbers are just dwindling and we're dying.
Well, I look kind of more to Senta, but I know who this is and want to not be disrespectful.
Mhm.
But I want both of their approval. But with your permission, I'd like to see what I might be able to do to their stones.
Well, Cinta can give hers completely silently without making any outward gestures because we're telepathically bonded right now.
Cool.
You said they're unaware of any of this sort of stuff. You know that's what's going on. Like,
Yes.
oh,
The dwarves tend to be fairly isolated in their halls, and so this is sort of the first time they've had to deal
okay.
with the Umber Horde in this way. Usually they just lock themselves up in their mountain and wait it out.
Then I will put a paw on this king's shoulder and sort of like crouch down because I'm sure he's shorter than me, right?
Mhm.
And sort of like talk to him, not whispering, but just not like that everybody around can hear, and just say to him that I understand this is hard, but your people need a king now, and in some ways, you have a chance to begin anew anywhere you want. The seed of your tree is safe, and you can plant it wherever you wish. But your people need you to lead them there. That's what they need right now.
And he kind of hits moves your hand away, not like aggressively hits, but just moves it away. And he shakes his head, and there's tears in his eyes. And he says, our people only have our history. The
Your
architecture.
history is happening right now. In decades and centuries to come, right now will be the start of a new chapter in your history, and you're going to write it.
We don't want a new chapter in our history. We want our archives. We want our lores. We want our mother.
I want there to not be evil infecting the land, but that's life. We have to deal with the things that get in the way of what we want
With
and shape
subtlety,
the road there.
with subtlety, with skill, you'll be able to go back and retrieve that which was left behind. But our wants and our needs are not going to be the same thing at this point in time. Life does not always deal us with situations that are blooming flowers. Sometimes we have to face the winter. Sometimes we have to face the hardships.
You don't understand. We haven't. We have always had everything we need in our mountain halls.
Well,
I do. I understand perfectly well. I lived with you until very recently.
Who are you? And he just gives you a long stare.
I'll sort of look over and say, she's all of you now.
I will tell you everything as soon as we get them somewhere safe, but that is most important. And I'm going to reach into a pocket and pull out that purple amulet that Jin gave me, the one for mind shielding, and I'm going to press it into his palm. And I'm going to be like,
Okay.
I know that you have no reason to trust me when I say this, but I think that you should bond to this and wear it.
I see. Make a persuasion roll. And you have disadvantage, but you don't know why.
12 in that case.
12. Okay. So he takes the amulet. He looks at it, and with your insight, you can just tell. You see there's almost like a brief flicker of recognition, and then his eyes just glaze over, like as though zoning out. I don't know why I want to trust you, but I'm a king and I can't.
That's
That's how
okay.
you die.
You don't have to put it on yet, but hold on to it in case you change your mind.
All right.
so Strahd is still looking somewhat expectantly. Not certain if the king has been distracted by the other parts of the conversation, but Strahd has not gotten an answer to his question.
Which question? I'm sorry. It's
He asked for permission to remove the stones from the boggarts to see if they might be purified. So once the tree is alive again, that those dwarves might have a chance of being reborn.
I see. I thought you were asking Senta that.
I wanted Senta's approval more than the king's, but I did want the king's approval.
Okay. He will look at you, look at Senta, and his eyes narrow. I don't know why I want to trust all of you. Those stones mean nothing to us right now, and we have no means of burying them because our mother is dead. You may
Only
take
for
the
now.
stones.
Thank you.
And you want to trust us because we are trying to do everything we can to improve this world, to save this world.
Right.
We have
Right,
risked
right.
our lives to give your people the chance to flee your city, rather than be overrun by a horde of umbral creatures. We risked our lives again to save the few that we could from being corrupted by that same umbral horde, and then continued the process to save those that would have been infected and would have been further corrupted by those that were unable to be saved.
I see.
That is what we do. And excuse me, and I'll go about the gruesome business and make sure all of the boggarts that are available are, burnt, and I will do the gruesome deed of carving out whatever their heartstone is, and keep that in a special pouch, cleanse my hands as best as possible. And with all of the different types of magic that I've got at my disposal, I will begin my research to try and see what I might be able to do to purify these gems, so that once they have a tree, these dwarves might be able to be reborn.
Okay. And Senta, because of that situation where you had disadvantage, that is technically an intrusion. So you get an inspiration and you can give an inspiration.
All right. Who else has spent inspiration this session? All right, Ted, take it.
Cool.
All right. And so you go about this work of retrieving these stones. I need you to make either a dexterity or a constitution check. You can use sleight of hand if you want instead of one of those, as you're trying to avoid getting corrupted or getting this ichor in any of the places that would be vital.
So sleight of hand or just a straight up con check?
Sleight of hand, I'll allow medicine too, or con check.
It's going to be medicine.
Okay.
That's going to be a 22.
22.
Oh, man.
Okay. You deftly recover these stones, and you, without even having to worry about necessarily getting your hands that dirty, you manage to recover the stones, and you can now attempt that ritual at some point in the future when you get the moment to set it up.
How many do I have so I can put that
there were 3 that were not thrown off the edge.
Okay. That is what I thought, but I was hoping that there might have been somehow more.
So yeah, there were 3. And Gortham can make a perception check. And so can Desatrikos, because you guys are not currently occupado with the conversation at present.
What am I doing? Nature check?
No, perception.
Perception check. I was having a heart-to-heart with the king. Oh man, that's a Nerdarchy symbol. Plus her 24.
Okay.
Man, everybody should totally go get those dice.
I know, they're great.
Quite excellent.
Aircraft
Get 'em while you
quality
can.
metal.
Gotta get rid of those things, man.
What did Gortham get?
Gortham.
Dave, what did you get?
Oh, I think he's
You're muted.
Oh, I think he is muted, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I'm like, I said it. 16.
16. Okay, so Gortham, you notice those white hooded figures start moving through the crowds again
Oh yeah.
toward you guys. And Desatricos, you see one of them pulls out what looks like a blow dart gun, aiming
How far
for
away are they?
Gortham.
How far away are they?
They are about 60 feet away right now.
Then we still have the telepathic link.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I say, Gortham, there's some masked dwarves aiming, raising a blowgun against you right now. All of you, actually. I'll broadcast to all of them.
So
And yeah, that's it. I'll just let them know. I'll just knock down the first domino.
Gortham will drop down to his knees
Uh-huh.
in the snow, because there's snow, right?
Yeah.
And make like he's like scooping the snow in order to like wash his fur.
Uh-huh.
But as he does, he's gonna use that motion to cover the fact that he's drawing a dagger.
Uh-huh.
And when he goes for another like scoop of snow, he's just gonna chuck it, and yeah, that's what he's gonna do.
Telepathic, I say, I didn't even know he had a dagger on him.
You can choose stealth, deception, or sleight of hand for this.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a hand axe because I don't actually have a dagger.
Any of those will work, though.
Are you proficient
I'm
in
actually
any
pretty
of
good
them?
at stealth. I know it hasn't come up very much, but that's
Through
a
the shock of
23.
all.
Puts
23.
little, like, little cloth things over his hooves. It's a
Yeah.
foot pad.
Okay. So you have advantage on your attack roll.
Okay. And you know what? I got plenty of rages. Might as well burn through another one.
Yeah,
Okay.
people, masked assassins trying to blowgun him. That's definitely a
Yeah,
rage
well, he
inducing.
kind of ticked me. Those guys ticked me off because, you know, you see, well,
I saw them earlier.
we saw them earlier. Does a 25 hit?
Screw those
A
guys.
25 does hit.
All right.
Don't forget to add your sneak attack damage.
So that is only going to be 11 points of damage.
Only
Okay.
11 with a hand axe.
And
So you throw this axe, right?
Yeah.
And it pegs this guy in the shoulder and he drops the blowgun. And immediately the dwarves start panicking and like looking around to see what's going on again.
Yeah, these dwarves are undergoing severe trauma in the last 3 hours.
And what are you doing, Gortham? I'm sorry. Were you doing something else?
I'll just scream assassin. They're too far away for me to get to
Oh,
them,
no.
so I will move. I'll have to stand up, so that'll be half my movement. But then I'm gonna move another 20 feet and try and get cover if I can.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Okay.
hear like the internal static coming from Cinta's mind at that. Just like, oh no.
So,
She's like,
Are they
looking at
dwarves? They just have
now.
masks on?
yeah, they are dwarves. They have masks on.
So they just look like white cloaked, like like any other white dwarf, but with a mask.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And you hear Gortham let out this scream, and when he does, everything starts rumbling above you, and you start
Yeah, there
hearing
you
this
go.
quaking.
You did
and-
that on
All right,
purpose.
everybody move.
No, and rocks start tumbling in like showers. And as everyone starts looking, some people start panicking more, and then others start like telling them to be quiet.
Just move.
We can
And-
get
Time
that
for
way
screaming,
one way or
just
another.
go.
All right, so they are just going. And as they're doing that, you hear the quaking continue, and it hasn't released yet.
Steven, I
Still
want to
hasn't
try to
released
grab
yet.
up that blowgun on the way by before it gets buried.
Okay, you can absolutely do that. So you successfully grab the blowgun. It does have a poison dart in it too.
Hashtag evidence.
And everyone moves out of the way. And as they're moving, you see more snow start pouring and more start showering. And pretty soon, you feel the rocks start crumbling and tumbling,
Oh, boy.
and you see rocks start rolling down the side of the mountain and start crushing the pathway where you had previously been walking. And you see almost like a terrible nightmare as this entire sheet of snow is just moving with one accord, and powder starts whipping up as it happens, and you see trees start toppling over, pine trees toppling in its path as it starts coming, and it showers down over this pathway with rubble, and the bridge that led to Dwagomer is now crumbled. But no dwarves or you guys are caught in the blast.
Nice. We covered our retreat.
True.
All right.
Do we know, like, the Umber the kind of like mindless monsters? Like, I mean, in the sense of like, would they like plunder the city and like, you know, want their like libraries and stuff like that, or are they just like monsters?
So you know that they have been known to use weapons and armor to some degree, but they also don't seem to care for wealth or knowledge.
Okay.
They are very bestial, but
Okay.
they are still humanoids or remnants of humanoids.
Okay, thanks. That makes sense.
And so you guys managed to get out of the way of the avalanche. And eventually you make your way to the base of the mountain, with many trying to murmur, and you hear these whispers just pouring through the crowd like waves of, why did he scream? What did he scream? What happened? So nobody's even really sure what was going on. They just know that the Minotaur screamed.
Mhm.
And
While we're moving,
Oh yeah, that's
I don't know how long the telepathic bond lasts, but I will ask Senta, because I can do so silently. What does the white masks mean, and why would they have attacked us?
The duration is 1 hour. Do I know what the white masks mean?
yes. So the white masks are a sort of secret noble police whose job it is to enforce the proper remembrance of history and things like that. The dwarven laws state that if you ever see one with their mask and hood pulled up, you are to pretend they do not exist. They are like, they just do not exist for all your intents and purposes. Many call them the lore keepers, but you would know that on the streets, they're also known as the White Shadows.
Okay, and I hold none of that back. Nor
Okay.
do I hold back my own distaste for them.
So we're just supposed to sit there and let them murder us, according to your culture?
Oh, you have no reason to know any of that.
But at that same token, obviously us fighting them was of no concern to the people either.
And frankly, I have no inclination to just let them do it either.
Oh, completely. I wasn't putting any criticism to you, Senta.
Oh, no, I didn't think that you were. My anger is not for you, Strawn.
You think that was the one that murdered that thieving little halfling?
But question for you there, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that as well, Gortham.
Have we ever seen the Umbral Horde? Like we just asked the question about, them using things. Have we ever seen them use tactics? Do they show higher levels of thinking? Could it be possible that, they could infiltrate and stay in society under some kind of guise?
So you know that the Umber Horde have alphas that sort of lead them, almost like wolves do, but these alphas do not, they don't use strategy as much. They more just command the Horde to retreat when it's time to retreat.
Okay.
But for the most part, the Horde just goes all in, full ham, attacking things mindlessly until death, unless
Sure.
otherwise retreating, which
They
happens
don't need.
very
They don't need to
rarely.
infiltrate because they just overwhelm people. basically.
Right.
Okay, sure. I need to know what kind of
Sure.
enemies we're up against, and if
Yep.
it's Umbral Horde and apparently these secret assassins that the other dwarves are just like, oh, they don't exist.
That's
Mhm.
cool.
About how
Just
many
simple.
of them are
They're
there?
just a bunch of weaker versions of Gortham.
So, you don't see them readily for all the white and the nobility. And they do kind of make themselves scarce among the area, especially with the snow. You would know that the lore keepers are often responsible when somebody becomes problematic or starts asking the wrong questions to the wrong people. They'll just kind of disappear.
They're in at least before we attacked them, the one was aiming at Gortham specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Would you do
also, like
Gortham?
once we moved, like I want to try to
Gortham?
find that one.
It could be the
Okay.
fact that Gortham would be the biggest threat. Physically, he is quite imposing, and I mean, he took out quite a lot. You took out
Yeah,
quite a
that's
lot.
true. That's true.
And there were multiple, so like they were moving in on us.
Yeah, that's true. But before he said they were making their way towards Senta.
Because
Maybe-
she was in conversation with the king.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have
So far, you and me are good, Strand. They don't
I have a
want us.
hypothesis that they just didn't like what I was doing with all that color
Better.
changing.
Yeah.
And that they've got something to do with the fact that somebody's been in the king's head changing up all his memories.
Yeah, well, we'll
We
get
need to
that.
figure out
What?
who's giving them their orders.
Somebody's manipulating your king.
Please.
Oh, yes. I'm almost certain of it. Did you see the way his eyes fogged over when we were talking to him?
Truth be told,
I
I
mean,
can't
it happens to
distinguish
me all
much
the
difference
time.
amongst your people aside from the color.
That's
The-
certainly a thing you said. No, I need to know who's doing this, though.
There are a lot of things to figure out, but I think first things first is safety and some further conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys make your way to the bottom of the hill, the mountainside, and you are now entering a forested area. There is this very thick pine forest. So you guys can choose. Do you want to follow the road and escort the dwarves to Falset's Vigil? Or do you want to try to convince them to come with you to the Jade Keep? Or do you want to take them through the forest to one of those places?
Did we go south and now we're by the coast, or did we go through that mountain pass and now we're at that little forested area before Fawcett's Keep anyway? Vigil.
You went through the mountain pass, and now basically you are at the base of where
there's those little
that
trees
road
to
is.
the
Yeah.
east of the icon showing the vigil.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
what do
I
we,
don't. Sorry, Ted.
so what do we know about where they're going as a destination, Fawcett's Cove or whatever?
So Falset's Vigil was established by an orange dwarf. Its primary purpose is to act as a sort of lodge for other orange dwarves to respite in between their hunts and their gathering. If you just really don't want to stay out in the wilderness, you can come and stay here, get a warm meal, a bath, all that sort of thing. And as the humans came to what is known as the Ardent Frontier, they started exploring and expanding, and Falset's Vigil just sort of became this hub of trade and rest, and it's kind of got a town building around it. It cannot accommodate this entire city's worth of dwarves, but it is a place with walls that is defensible.
Okay.
Can the
Now,
Jade Lotus tower that we were at, was that big enough to fit all these dwarves?
I don't think so.
No, you wouldn't be able to house an entire city's worth of dwarves there either. Not even uncomfortably. Most of them would still end up in tents outside, and you would know that the Jade Keep is in a notoriously less hospitable area than Falset's Vigil.
There are
I-
tunnels and caves beneath, though, right?
There are, which you have come to know are full of monsters.
Want to go there?
So
I would say,
thoughts.
go to the vigil. But
I
Yeah,
agree.
what was the choices of
because
the road or the forest? Is that what we had?
What were you saying, Robin?
I said I agree that we should go on to the vigil because um we need to get somewhere that is kind of safe so that we can sit down and talk out what our next plan is. And I need more time to stalk these masked bozos and expose them for being wang rods and figure out who's making them be wang rods.
Definitely looking for any of them that appear to be injured.
Also, looking for a chance to have a conversation, or Senta to have a conversation with the Grey Dwarves and see if they might want to be, new members of the Jade Lotus.
Oh, I'm not going to be remotely subtle about that. I will make a big announcement before we leave that they're welcome to come with us if they want to. Like,
Sure.
anyone who wants to come with us is welcome to come with us if they want to, but I suspect the Greys will be more likely.
So are the Greys, are they the bottom of the cast?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, are you guys going to be taking them through the forest or on the main road?
I think the road. I mean, there's children, injured people, thousands of them.
What is the
Yeah, is there any
fastest?
reason that we wouldn't take the road?
Only if you wanted to avoid the possibility of highwaymen.
What
I
highwayman is
pity
gonna
the
attack
foolish
thousands?
highwayman who thinks that attacking a caravan
Hey,
of
man.
1,000 dwarves is a good idea.
These times have driven people to harsh decisions, as we learned in our first night.
Well, Senta, you would know too that like in this area, the bandits are sort of organized into guilds and gangs that will often team up in war with one another. They are like their hideouts are less holes in the wall and more like proper fiefs, just full of bandits.
Right. But we're an entire city full of dwarves. Like, you just got finished telling us that there's like 1,000 dwarves here. Like, there's a lot of us.
That's true.
Like, I mean, like, we can keep an eye out and make sure that we don't end up with any stragglers because those are probably going to get picked off. But for the most part, you would have to be an absolute moron to try it. And I am perfectly willing to show a bandit or 6 or 7 just how stupid it is.
Also, the dwarves are pretty beraggled too, right? Like, it's whatever they could stuff in their pockets on the way out. It's not like they had time to grab their stuff. So, not only is it a large force to contend with, it's a large poor force that doesn't really have much in the ways of value.
Well, then the road should be safe.
Ted, make a history check or arcana. It's not hard.
Sure. Well, that's going to be a 17.
17.
Nice.
You know that, especially among arcane circles, there are rules and laws to magic, right? And among those rules and laws, sometimes you need certain reagents to facilitate, especially more questionably legal, higher leveled spells.
Sure.
And there is an underground trade of murdering dwarves and extracting their natural gems and selling them as reagents on the black market.
Okay. I don't know how you can casually mention that in conversation, but
Fun fact.
Well, if it went through your head, then as long as the telepathic bond is still up, the rest of us also know it.
So, like, I would
I'm
be
not
able
saying
to
I personally shop for these, but there are places.
Beyond it's just the gem value. Those who dabble in the, shall we say, darker arts of the arcane. It does require sacrifice, and there's nothing more sacrificial and valuable at the same time than the Dwarven Heartstone.
So at this point, I trust the Orange cast. So I am going to go to them first to let them know what's going on with that in particular, that we need to spread the word through the dwarves to keep an eye on each other, not to let anyone fall behind. That if we see anybody that looks out of the ordinary, like if there are bandits, word should be spread immediately so that the people who can do something about it can get there. And I'm going to see if I can go get the blues to like spread throughout the caravan so that we're not like having them clumped in the same spot.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to need a persuasion roll from you. And then they're going to need, if you succeed, they're going to need to use either your choice of persuasion, intimidation, or survival. And they add your modifier to whatever they roll.
All right. So I rolled very poorly at first, and I needed to use my inspiration. That's going to be 15.
15.
Can I just give you
That
a
is a
pompadour?
success. That is a success.
Apparently, I'm going to add on to Parks's joke. Those rare reagents are sold by spider folk in the Underdark web.
That's good. And I don't have intimidation, and I'm pretty sure I don't have survival either, so they're going to have to be going off of my persuasion, which is +2.
Okay.
Hey, I can give you a pompadour, dreadlocks, or mohawk anytime.
At some point, I will take you up on that. Today
Sure.
is not that day.
Sure. Just
But today is not
you get a
that day.
free haircut at whenever you want. Hairstyling. An enhancement style.
Okay. So roll your persuasion for them then.
All right. 17.
17. So the rest of you will see that the orange and the blue start coordinating. Senta, you would know this is rather unprecedented, actually. They
And you
seem
guys
to really
can
be
just
coming
feel me
together.
being proud of them.
Usually they are very different, disparate casts that the orange are often considered much lower than the blue, but they are still working together. And they quickly get the word around such that you can even hear people talking about it as you pass and you're traveling. So everyone has this on the mind. And the blues are now spreading out among the other colors instead of just remaining with their own to help better protect everyone. And okay. So I rolled for an encounter and I got an interesting result. So as you are traveling, Senta, you see off to the side, behind everything, there seems to be a broken cart behind some trees and foliage.
Okay.
Covered in snow.
How long have we been traveling at this point?
A couple hours.
All right, then the telepathic bond would have worn off by now, so I'm going to cast the message cantrip to Strawn to let him know that I'm going to check this out. And then I'm going to stealth and go over there.
Okay. So give me a stealth check.
25.
25. Okay. So
he just
you
disappears.
are just a thief in the night. And you easily slip into the brush and you don't even hardly disturb the snow covering this. Your feet barely crunch beneath you. And you find the elements where there's just like powder and hard ground. So you easily make your way through the brush and you come upon a broken down cart that you see has been hollowed out on the other side to hide several chests that are locked.
Yeah, we'll see how long those are locked for.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me sleight of hand. You have thieves' tools, I already know.
I feel like this is a bad idea out of character, but Cinta has no reason to think that.
Okay.
Okay.
They're all mimics.
The cart's a mimic.
16.
16.
Snow mimic.
Easily unlock all of the chests. And you quickly discover this is where the highwaymen store much of their loot.
Ooh.
Until it can be transported to where they properly stay. And inside, you find a total of, hold on. You find 84 gold pieces.
Sweet.
You also find a bag. And what's interesting about this bag is the stitching looks vaguely metallic. And it shimmers if it catches the light just right. And the bag itself is sewn that when you look at it at just the right angle, it almost looks like a face. And then you also find a set of leather armor that once again has that same sort of quality where it catches the light just right and it has this almost unearthly sheen to it. And
Cool.
you find several gemstones that altogether are worth about 200 gold pieces.
They're not dwarven gemstones though, right?
No, these
Okay.
are already cut and everything. They don't look like the sort of thing that would manifest in a dwarf. And yeah, that's what you find in these chests at present.
Cool. I am going to stow all that and get back to the group, and I will proceed
Gonna relock
to...
the chest.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Thank you, Ted.
Okay.
You know, let you guys know about the booty that we can then proceed to go over later as a group, because, you know, it is our treasure.
Sure.
Mhm. Okay. So I would like for you to please make for me a general arcana check. We'll go with that.
Asking me for... I'm pretty sure Arcana is one of those that you can't roll if you're not proficient in it.
Oh no, you can roll this.
All right. 14.
14. All right. Yeah, you hang out enough with Strawn. You've heard about some things. You know, you get some stuff through osmosis. You are aware that you now have a bag of holding and a set of glamored studded leather armor.
Cool. Then I can put all the stuff in the bag of holding.
Okay. So you now just have that. You can do what you will with it. You guys make your way safely to Falsett's Vigil without any incident, because that encounter was the incident, because I got a nat 20. So you found a loot with magic items.
That's a good thing.
You get the treasure without the fight. Yes.
Yep. And yeah, the dwarves begin setting up makeshift tents out of whatever they can scrounge with rope, nearby wood, and their clothing, which does result in the dwarves sort of camping among their own colors. You notice that the king gets a place in the lodge proper for the time being. And it is nightfall. You guys go to sleep. And Senta, as you are asleep, give me a quick perception roll. We're almost done.
Okay. 3.
3. So, Senta, you awaken in the middle of the night and you feel a hand just clasping over your mouth.
Can I bite it?
And that is where we're going to cut it.
Okay. Just let me put a pin in biting it, because that's absolutely going to happen first thing next week.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Thanks for running, Steven. Thanks for playing, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I can't wait till next week to see what happens. And with that, until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay
nerdy.
Nerdy.